Every watch has a story behind it. And whether you're an athlete, an actor, astronaut, or just a guy making YouTube videos, the watches you own carry a piece of history every time you wear it. And this is exactly what Matt Hranek has done in this book, where you'll find a lot of stories about iconic watches and the men who wore them. So today, we're going to take a look through this book, and I'm going to share you my thoughts in today's review of A Man and His Watch. Alright, so I wouldn't normally do an unboxing portion for a book review, but I really just want to show the physical aspects of this book. So if we look at it compared to a normal size book, When Breath Becomes Air, you can see that this book right here is a lot larger. And not only that, it's actually a lot heavier. This book is probably these 3 to 4 books combined, so it's pretty hefty and it is pretty large. The next thing I want to mention is the sleeve. So this is actually not the book cover, this is just the sleeve here, and you can actually see that not only is it textured, there's also like these 3D grooves which just show an outline of a watch. And if we flip to the back, you just see a quick synopsis of the book. And I feel like most books don't come with a cover, so I think, it is a pretty nice touch. Alright, so now we're going to take off the sleeve and we're going to see the book cover right here. So this is Paul Newman's Rolex Daytona. This is the back of his Daytona as well. So you can see here, it's just a really nice quality photo. And again, you get this textured feel, these kind of 3D grooves showing off his watch. And overall, this book has really good materials. Just feeling the front cover, all the pages, just feels really thick. It feels heavy, but again, feels very premium for such a book. So overall, I'm actually quite impressed by the presentation. I think the materials and the quality feel quite premium, and it doesn't really seem like they've skimped out at all when making this book. Now the content is kind of split into 2 different streams. The first one is the personal stories, and this is when the author actually interviews the watch owner themselves and the watch owner provides the backstory. For example, the founder of Hodinkee, Benjamin Clymer, shares a story about how he acquired his first Omega watch. Now the second kind of stories are the archives. So these are watches where the original owner has already passed away, so the watches get stored in the vault, and the stories are stored in historical data. For example, this Cartier watch was owned by King Constantine of Greece. Now there are quite a few interesting stories in this book. Some are educational, some are emotional and inspiring, and some are just humorous. And there's plenty of nice photos of watches here, some of which have probably never been this nicely photographed, if at all. Now Rolex is the watch that definitely gets features the most in this book, and honestly you could almost call this book just A Man and His Rolex, and some people may not like that if you're not a fan of the brand. Now besides Rolex, there are a lot of European watches that are featured in this book, and not so many in terms of Japanese watches. There are quite a few Casio G-Shocks that are mentioned, but there's only one Grand Seiko watch, and there's no Seiko, Citizen, or Orient watches that are featured in this book at all. Another thing I noticed when flipping through this book is that there's not much information about the watches themselves. So you can see here, there's the name of the watch, but there's nothing about the specs of the watch in terms of dimensions, material, the movement, or any other features like that. So really it's more about the person wearing the watch and less about the watches themselves. Now this book can be finished in about half a day. A lot of the pages contain pictures of watches, and the watch stories are only about 1 to 2 pages long. So overall, I'd say this book is pretty brief. Now this book costs $40 US brand new, but I actually only got it for $12 US, and that's because I bought it from an online site called Book Outlet, and that also explains why the condition isn't the best. So because I did get this from an online outlet site, this book wasn't in perfect condition, so you can see here on the sleeve there is some tearing and there's also a bit of damage here. And also even in the book you can see right here there's just some damage to the spine over here. But again, I got this for $12 US, so I'm not complaining if there's a little bit of damage. So to summarize, I think the presentation of this book is really great. I think the photos are really nice and the stories are quite interesting, but I do wish that there were more stories centered around Japanese watches. I wish there was more information about the watches themselves, and I wish the stories were a little bit longer because, again, I feel like the length of the book was just a little bit too short for my liking. So overall, I think I do recommend this book for watch enthusiasts, but I would try and get it maybe around like the $20 US mark or under. And again, it's just because of the length. I don't think I can really justify buying a $40 book when I can read it in just half a day. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video on my review on the book A Man and His Watch. And this is actually going to be the first of 2 videos where I'm going to be reviewing watch books. And my second one's going to be a book about Seiko. So definitely look forward to that. But until then, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.